Divine greetings and gratitude. Welcome to the Saiyonan archives. If you are new here, my name is Nuna. I am the poet, the writer, the witch, the seer, the oracle, the wise woman of the archives. Welcome to your new spiritual safe haven. And if you are returning, hey family, hey tribe, welcome back to our sacred garden. I'm always honored, excited, and elated to be in your presence. I wanted to take a moment to do a quick reading for us because we are entering into the season of the shadow divine feminine. For those of you that don't know what that means, the shadow divine feminine is essentially the same thing as the divine dark feminine or the dark divine feminine. I just like to call it the shadow divine feminine because it's all a part of the same source. It's just a different aspect that we concentrate the energy on. It is a denser, it is the more intense, it is the more death-like rebirthing transformational aspect of the divine feminine. So you're going to hear me call it the shadow divine feminine because that is simply what I prefer. It does not mean that I am rejecting what anyone else believes about the shadow divine feminine. It just means that I have my own way of saying things and doing things according to my own path, and this is the best way that I know how to present the information. It's the way that I'm called to. It is the way that I am divinely led to. So we are definitely entering into the season where things are starting to go. They're starting to calm down a little bit more, even though the energy still is pretty intense because of the planetary bodies, what they're doing up there in the stars and whatnot. However, we are still entering into the shadow aspect of the season or the darker months of the season. And I particularly love this season because I am all about the darkness. I am all about the shadows. I am all about working with the divine feminine in all of their aspects and also all of its aspects. And also I wanted to point out really quickly here that I did make a prediction or made predictions back before where I mentioned that there would be a rise of the divine feminine and whatnot. And of course we did touch on the shadow aspect of the divine feminine awakening, of course. So anyway, I do want to just say that this reading is going to serve that aspect. Thank you so much for understanding that my calling, my work and whatnot is very seasonal. So with my work being seasonal, that means that I'm going with the energy. So if you see that things are getting a little bit more intense over here on my side, or they're getting a little bit more, quote unquote, dark, darker than what you may be used to, please understand that I'm still coming from a high vibrational place. I'm coming from a space that is authentic for one. I'm coming from a place that is transparent, but also I'm coming from a place that is honest. And in that honesty, I have to say that I myself am moving with the current of the divine feminine. So please understand that I do have your best interest at heart. Thank you so much for understanding. I set the intention that you are protected. Thank you so much for trusting me along your journey. Let's go ahead and get into your reading. Thank you so much, Divine Mother, for allowing me to be the vessel that needs to relay any messages that my soul tribe needs to hear. Thank you so much, Divine Mother, for allowing me to be the one that gives the messages. I set the intention that the people who are listening to this now, the souls who are listening, that they receive what they need and that they reserve what they don't need as a gift for someone else to use. Thank you so much for allowing me to be, again, the one that relays any messages that they all need to hear. Thank you for giving me discernment to know what is for me and what is for my tribe. Thank you so much for speaking through this reading and for protecting us. I trust you. I love you. It is so. Okay, so the first card that you had to pop out here was a Queen of Pentacles, and then the second card to come out here was the Eight of Swords in reverse. So already we're definitely dealing with the serpent energy. Of course, serpent energy is here, which makes a lot of sense. Of course it would, right? The focus that I want to do, or what I want to focus on right now, is the Queen of Pentacles. Before I actually get into the Queen of Pentacles, I wanted to point out that I do have this candle burning here. This is a working candle. This is the candle that I'm using to honor my own feminine energy. And yes, so that's the reason why you guys seen it here on the altar. Although I am definitely going to be looking for a different supplier because the way that these candles are made, I'm not liking it because it keeps leaning. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So that's the candle that you guys see. The Shadow Divine Feminine candles usually will come in red and black. Either a red candle or a black candle or a red and black candle or black and red. It really just depends. But that is really just the color scheme of that when you're working with the shadow. So anyway, you have the Queen of Pentacles here. And the Queen of Pentacles is the energy that nurtures. It's the energy that takes something and it breathes life into it through its senses, through sensuality, through practicality, through loving it, and just simply being the mother figure in a very practical way. It is connected to water. The divine feminine, of course, is connected to water and connected to earth. So it does feel like with the Queen of Pentacles coming out that there's something that you may want to nurture, or there's something that you're wanting to feel. I'm hearing like the word safety. Someone wasn't safe a lot growing up, or they simply were not safe, or they don't feel safe in their own home right now. There is this idea of just simply wanting ease and wanting things to flow and wanting things to just be as in alignment as possible, but there's something that's interfering with this safety. The Queen of Pentacles usually creates safety for itself and for others. It's usually the nurturer. This is the energy where you would go to get a home cooked meal. You may just find this energy in a robe. You may just be able to talk to this energy about your issues and your problems, and then get a practical solution as well as empathy from this energy. It's the aspect of the divine feminine that is a provider, but it provides in a way that is practical, realistic, loving, nurturing, and all of those things because it understands. Whereas the Queen of Cups is more of the, I want to say, kind of passive in a way. It can be very passive. It's more of like Cancerian energy where you would get that spiritual, that emotional advice and whatnot. And the Queen of Water or the Queen of Cups would usually say, you know what, I know exactly how you feel. I've been there before and things like that. And so you can express your feelings and whatnot. And then she helps you kind of come up with like your own plan. The Queen of Pentacles in this instance, or the way that I feel, the way that it has come up for me in my own life is that she helps you by giving you a plan. She says, okay, well, what is your goal? And you tell her the goal and she helps you to nurture it. She tells you, what can you do to nurture this? She helps you come up with a plan because she's been there. She's done that. But when the Eight of Swords is in the mix, especially in reverse here, it almost feels like someone is used to being the one where that people will rely on, or it almost comes up as the Queen is kind of dealing with her own insecurities, or the Queen is dealing with her own fears or whatnot, or she's dealing with like things that she's got going on behind the scenes that she may not talk about, that she herself or they themselves, it doesn't matter how you identify. It's all about you figuring out what to do about the things that are coming up for you right now. And I feel like what's coming up with the Four of Wands in reverse here, it's like, it's this not feeling safe at home. It's this instability. You could be someone who did not have a very safe home growing up, where you had to constantly be from home to home. You could, may not have a place where you actually called home, where the world was your home, where you had to make a home out of nothing. You had to make a home out of, wherever you laid your head. And so there's this aspect of you that is wanting to feel safe, that is wanting to feel, provided for. That's the energy that I'm kind of getting. For some people, they also feel like who they are kind of feels like they're just kind of made to be of service. You don't have to, I don't know why I'm stuttering right now, but you don't have to be of service all the time in this way, because sometimes you do want to kind of pull back a little bit and allow someone else to be there. You have the Two of Cups in reverse here. I just heard the word discombobulation with the Two of Cups, but the Two of Cups is coming up in reverse. So this feels like disconnection. I just heard the word disassociation. I just heard that you're having to make a home. You're having to make a home for yourself. You're having to make a home out of yourself. Wow, that reminds me of a poem that I wrote, actually. You guys, I did not expect that. I'm going to go ahead and pull up Microsoft Word real quick on my phone, because I want to, I'm writing another book. For those of you guys that don't know this, I'm a writer, obviously. So I write, obviously. Let me open up Microsoft Word, because there was something that I wrote in this new book that I have. It's called The Magic of Being. At least I think it's going to be called that. We'll see. And This is something that's coming through right now. Where do I find it? Where is it? Where is that poem? Oh, here we go. And it's super, 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 super simple. If you walk with your souls naked on the earth, she will teach you to trust your path. If you sit on her grass, she will show you stillness. In stillness, you will feel her breath, her quiver, her heartbeats, her warmth. You will feel safe enough to choose peace. Trust her. Vibrate to her rhythm. She will teach you to make a home of yourself. And that is going in the magic of being. I believe it's going to be called that. I'm not sure if that's exactly the final name of the book, but that's what we're going with right now. And that was something that came through, and that's going in the chapter called To Root. So this has a lot to do with rooting. It has a lot to do with you finding home, finding safety, finding refuge, and just allowing yourself to be safe in love, allowing yourself to be safe within yourself, and allowing yourself to be safe with your connections. The fact that you do have here the Four of Wands here in reverse, it's that I don't know why I'm hearing like a longing. Like you're so used to creating spaces for others, but now it's time for you to start to have a space created for you. But at the same time, it comes with a level of trust that you just simply may not have right now. And it's not the fact that you just don't want to have trust. It's the fact that people have proven time and over and over and over again that they just simply cannot be trusted. Either some people, I don't know if you've ever been kicked out before, or if someone just simply didn't want you in their space, or they felt like they just couldn't deal with your energy and so they outcasted you, or perhaps maybe something happened where there was a major event that happened and it caused you to be homeless, or it's this space of homelessness within the self, within the body. And I do feel that when it comes to the shadow divine feminine says, I at some point did not feel safe in my body, and that became my reality. Something happened outside of me, whether it be in a home or whether it be within myself, a disruption. It could have been upbringing, and could have been, in a friendship, whatever it may be. It's this disruption that happened that made me feel a bit insecure in myself. And it almost kind of feels like someone here feels robbed. Like maybe, and I don't speak this over you, I really hope that this is not true for you. I hope that this is metaphorical for you. But maybe, I just heard something about like a burglar where someone broke into their home and they took something that was special to them or to you, or they may have taken something away from you that made you feel like home, or like a heirloom. I'm seeing like a comb, like I'm getting a vision of a comb with flowers on it, and it has like blue flowers. Like there's something very significant about a comb, and it's like a heirloom. And I'm seeing someone, she looks like if she would be Asian or whatnot. She's in a mirror and she's putting this comb in her hair. I don't know why I'm seeing like a comb, and now I'm seeing like a wooden comb. So it's something that deals directly with the crown. It's something old, something new, something blue, or something like that. I think that's what it goes when it's like when you're dealing with like marriage. Maybe there was a breakup, or maybe there was like an engagement and then you guys kind of just didn't make it or something like that, and it made you feel insecure. Like when it came to relationships, it's like, well, what did I do that caused it? Spirit is reminding you right now that it's not that you did anything to cause it yourself. It's just the energy simply just did not work out. But it was never meant to make you feel homeless. If anything, it was just to teach you that this space was not your home. And so with that comes this idea that, well, damn, like, well, if this isn't my home, really what is? Because I poured so much into this. I've given so much of myself to this. The Queen of Pentacles gives everything that she gives, in her shadow, or when she's not in her full power, or when it is not in her full power, they will give everything endlessly. And that really, in a sense, is kind of leaning more towards masculine energy, but for the sake of divine feminine will be self-sacrificial. Divine feminine will just continuously nurture, even when divine feminine knows, okay, I really should pull back my nurturing. I really should pull back from this space, but I can't help it. But I can't help but to do that because I find home in the nurturing. I find home in giving. And without me giving, like, what am I? Like, what value do I bring? And Spirit is telling you, no, that you don't have to worry about that because you are significant just because you're alive. Your significance and your value is not determined by how much you give or contribute, right? Because you yourself are giving enough as it is. But there's this idea of like over giving and over pouring and over nurturing to people that are not pouring and nurturing to you. And the Queen of Pentacles is saying, I want to stand back in my power. I just really don't know how to stand back in that power right now because of how I'm feeling. Like I want that space to be created for me because I'm always wanting the best for other people. But how often do they have my best interest at heart? How often do they offer things to me? I'm always giving offerings. It's Virgo energy in its shadow. It's like, well, I don't want to say Virgo energy in its shadow, but it's Virgo energy when it's not in its higher capacity. It just constantly gives and gives and gives and gives and gives, and then has the audacity to feel like it's not worth anything if it's not giving or if it's not needed. And I don't know why Spirit is saying is that it's not the fact that you're not needed or worthless, but you don't always need to give anything either. There's a season for everything. And the fact that you're going into these darker months now, this is a time for you to give to yourself by going into your internal world. You give to yourself by going inwards. And that's what Spirit is saying to you right now. You are being called to surrender. I love that. Look at how beautifully these things are going. Look at how beautifully this is happening. You have the Hangman here, or the Hanged One. And this has everything to do with like let go and let God. Like when they say let go and let God, I know it. I feel it because it's one of those things where it's like I am at the end of the road here. I don't know what to do. Divine, I surrender it all. And whatever happens, happens. If there is fire set amidst this house or set amidst this, I don't even know why I just said that. And I don't claim that for you. Maybe you lost all of your belongings in a house fire. Maybe I'm getting an image right now and I kind of don't want to share it, but then again, I kind of do. And then a part of me is like, I don't want to leave anyone with that image. You know what? I'm not going to share that because I don't want to leave you with that image. What I will say though, is that again, maybe you were someone that lost some of your things in like a house fire. You're just like, you know what? I don't know what to do. Spirit, I give it all to you. Please just help me figure this out. I trust that you will help me to figure this out. And Spirit is saying, yes, I will help you to figure it out. You do not have to do this on your own. I'm going to send people to help you, but you have to be willing to let people help you. You have to be willing to let people help you. Help is on the way. As I say that, you do have here the Witch of Pentacles, which if I'm not mistaken, this is actually the Knight of Pentacles. Gabriella, the author of this deck, the creator of this deck, she actually, I believe her pronouns are her and she, I believe. If they are not, I apologize. But she renamed, or Gabriella renamed them, and I love that. So the Witch, I believe, is the Knights. The fact that you have the Knights here, help is on the way. And the fact that I just heard that you will be provided for. This honestly is not for clickbait. I do not believe in clickbaiting people. I'm going to give you the absolute truth. Remember that these messages are for a wide audience of people. At least that's what we are manifesting. And so the messages are just simply coming out. You just have to take them as they do resonate. Okay. I want you to know right now that with the Witch of Pentacles, this is where help is on the way. Now I want to kind of go a little bit deeper into this card here because she named it the Witch of Pentacles. Witches are known for working their magic. Witches are known for communing and, communing amongst either themselves or with their coven, especially during the moon phases in terms of, in terms of their magic or whatnot, of course. And then witches are also known for working their magic according to the moon phases, according to, astrological transits or whatnot. Witches are known for working their magic. Although there's a negative connotation associated with witches and witchcraft, I don't associate witches with, evil. And the reason why I don't is because it's not the witch, it's the soul. It's the intention of the practitioner, right? It's the intention of them. It is what they see for themselves. And this is where I have to step in and say too, that it almost kind of feels like there was something where you yourself in your life were trying to give and people didn't think that it was good enough, or people thought that, okay, well, because of who you are, I can't trust it or whatever, because they had their own beliefs about you, because they were told to believe certain about you. And because of that, they outcasted you. This makes me feel like the one who was giving, but the one who was also simultaneously the outcast in people's eyes, where nothing you do will ever be good enough for them. And Spirit is saying that is not your tribe. That is not your people. That is not home. that is not your home. So instead of feeling rejected, feel redirected because you're being led home. You are going home now. Shadow Divine Feminine wants to feel safe at home. Shadow Divine Feminine is looking for home. But how about you let home find you? Shadow Divine Feminine, I want you to let home find you. The fact that you also do have here the Three of Pentacles, exactly. Let home find you. You've got a really strong snake essence here. Okay? You have a really strong snake essence. You're working with serpent energy. It makes a lot of sense that you're working with serpent energy right now because look at the time of the month that we're in, right? Exactly. Like, look at the time of the month that we're in. You also, I see the Six of Wands here. I'm going to go ahead and pull the Six of Wands out. If I were you, I would 100% be working with rose. I would be working with juniper berries. I would be working with hibiscus or hibiscus. I would be working with chicory root. I would be working with dragon's blood. You may want to work with catnip and what are those called? Rose hips. You can definitely work with rose hips right now. And whatever else comes through throughout the reading, I will let you know. Spirit, is there anything else that... Okay. We have 2 cards that fell here. And you have the Witch of Swords that is in reverse and the Five of Swords. Again, the witches. These are the knights, if I'm not mistaken. I think they're the knights. Or are they the... I feel like they're the knights. Let me double check real quick. Yes, the witches are the knights. Exactly. So... yes, the fact that you do have here the Witch of Swords in reverse here, along with the Five of Swords in reverse, I do feel like it's one of those things where Spirit is saying to you now that the worst has already happened. Like the worst has happened, or you're realizing that you don't have to keep yourself in this mind state. You don't have to keep yourself in a state of disempowerment. You don't have to keep yourself in this space. If anything, what Spirit is saying is like, this is not one of those things where Spirit is wanting you to be defeated. You are not defeated. You won't be defeated. You are not defeated. If anything, Spirit is saying is like, oh my God, speaking of which, I was recording this video earlier and I did not, oh my goodness, but I ended up stopping because there was something that was going on and I was talking about the void. Why didn't I say that? Or did I say that at the beginning of this reading? I can't remember. I know it was at the last reading. So essentially I was saying that the void is like a passageway, or the void, you could think of the void as a rite of passage into yourself. Sorry about that, you guys. I had to check to see if if it was still recording because I'm using GarageBand to record the sound, and then I'm using the camera as well to record the video, obviously. So yes, I had to pause for a second to check to see what was going on over there. And I'm doing my best to not edit the video because I want to make sure that the video and the audio are in sync, right? I don't want any lagging going on. But anyway, so basically I was talking about the void, and I was talking about how the void, how the numerical representation of the void is 0, because when you think about the number 0, it contains all numbers as long as that number has its opposite. For example, 1 - 1, 1,000 - 1,000, a million - 1,000,000. As long as that number has its opposite, then it will be equivalent to 0, which means that 0 contains all numbers, which means that 0 is the void that contains everything. It has everything and nothing simultaneously. Yes. Okay. So the fact that we have the void here, the void is the space of pure potential. It is pure potential. It is a birthing ground. It is a nesting ground. It is a womb space in which all things exist. That is the way that I explain the void. The void is a womb space in which all things and no things exist. And what exists really is just pure potential. Anything can happen. Anything exists, anything and everything, because if you can think it, it can exist in some way, shape, or form. That's what the void is. The void, the fact that there's been eggs, and it's so interesting because eggs have been coming through a lot recently. Oh my goodness. And I have literally like 3 crystal eggs over there on my bookshelf. I'm probably going to be putting those on my altar soon. But yes, the power of the egg contains life. It is circular or or it's like an oval, of course, but that oval is like the life essence of the number 0, if you ask me. And within that egg contains life. It contains everything. So the fact that here you have the void, it doesn't mean that there is nothing here. It means that there's something that is going to be birthed. When you go into this internal aspect, when you go within you, when you go through your own shadow aspect, when you go within yourself, you'll see and you'll find that there is so much wisdom that is in this void, and you can pull from this space. People tend to start tapping into their shadow, and then they start to become really reckless with it. I obviously have an issue with that, because if you are not integrating your shadow, it could be very disruptive. It could be very destructive, especially if you're not self-aware. And these are the aspects of you that you don't show, or these are the aspects of you that are not easily seen or detected. You would have to be highly intuitive, right? Like, for example, how you are highly intuitive. If you are listening to this or watching this, you are highly intuitive. You are in tune. So, you know, myself, I'm also am a seer. So I know and I can feel it. I can feel things that people don't say. I can detect things that people don't talk about. I can detect things based off of movement, sound, smells, all kind of things, right? As I'm sure you are too. So, you know, like we're vibing because, you know, we get it, right? So within this void is you picking up on anything and everything, and it may not be obvious, but at some point in time it's going to show itself. And that is the power of the void, is that eventually it's going to show itself. It's going to birth. It's like the void giving birth to itself. It's just this void that says, it's just me. It's just this oneness. It's just everything. But let me allow this to play out. What am I going to birth? What is happening? Like, what is coming from out of me, right? The 6 of Wands says, I'm going to show up and share it. And it's so interesting because I did not want to leave you guys with this image, but with this image, it really does. I don't want to say it's triggering for me, but it is a little triggering for me. And the reason is because trigger warning. You may want to skip past these next few moments, because I'm going to give you guys a quick story time. I don't know if I'm going to do a face-to-face video, but you may want to skip in 3, 2, 1. When I was in about the 11th grade, I remember waking up to like screaming and like burning smells and whatnot. And we were like confused as to like what was going on. And this was back at the time where I was in Watts. So I was at my step grandmother's house at the time. We used to live with her. And I remember waking up to the sound of screaming, to something burning. And then my mom, she like ran like out of the house and whatnot. It wasn't our house that was on fire, but it was a house next door. And so I remember just this woman, because the house next to us was abandoned, if I'm not mistaken. And there was someone who he was homeless or whatnot. And you know how you have homeless people, they find shelter or whatnot. And he was the sweetest man. Oh my goodness, the sweetest freaking soul. I swear he was the sweetest soul. And he had like left, I guess, to go collect his cans or whatnot. And, you know, I guess I don't know where he had gone. But anyway, so he ended up like leaving. So when I woke up, I had heard someone, they were screaming and they were trapped in that house, and they were, you know, the house was up in flames. I would just say that. And so my mom and then the neighbors, like they went over there. My mom, she was so freaking brave, man. She went over there along with the neighbors. They were trying to bust the door down and whatnot. And then I remember I ran to go call 911. So I called 911, and then, you know, stuff was like happening and whatnot. And I was, talking to them and saying, hey, you know, it's okay. I'm calling 911, whatever. And yeah. And so it was one of the most tragic things that has ever happened. And it was one of those things where it was just like, damn, like, wow, like I can't believe that this just happened. Like, how? And of course it did not end it didn't end very well. Obviously it didn't end well. I was traumatized for a while. So this card for me is a bit triggering. But why am I saying this? I'm saying this because I feel like fire itself represents an aspect that can give life, but it also can consume it if not controlled. And sometimes it takes the smallest spark. It takes only a spark for things to be set off. And if the conditions are right, if those sparks start flying, even the smallest thing, it can set flame to a whole building, to a whole piece of land. And so you want to be careful with that. So there's something about fire and how it has the capacity to consume, starting with the smallest flame, the smallest flicker can start a whole house fire. And I don't mean to traumatize anyone by saying this, and we're all adults here. Obviously, if you're listening to this, chances are you are an adult and you are, mature enough to stick with the conversation. Thank you for hanging out and listening. But that's going to be the last thing that I mention about that, and we're going to move on. Yeah, it was this, it starts off sometimes with the smallest flame, but if it is not directed, if it is not right, like if it's not directed, then it can easily go south. It can easily be very destructive. So this to me is coming off as a warning. If you yourself are not checking the fire, if you yourself are not checking your own fire, then it can be very destructive very quickly, especially if you are tired, especially if you are just done. If you are just done, then there's a chance that you could enter into a moment where you want to rage. And Spirit is saying is that that's not what I see for you. Although rage is holy, you want to make sure that this rage is directed, that this anger is directed, that this life force is directed, because you don't know what's going to be birthed. Because if the conditions are right and you are in a space where you are full blown shadow, and as I say that, the flame, I don't know if you guys seen that, but the flame it's louder now. I said that, and now the flame is louder. Let me see if I can pull this up. I don't want to touch it. But the flame on the candle, let me see. Oh, I don't want to ruin it. Never mind. I'm not going to ruin it. Nope. I'm not going to do it. Anyway, the flame, as I was saying that, the flame got larger and the flame grew. So it starts off as just that, because you yourself are so powerful and you really don't want to do anything that is destructive, needlessly destructive. Destruction is necessary to survive. That's the reason why we eat. And when we eat, we destroy the food using our teeth and things like that, of course, right? When we, have babies, right? Our insides, although not being destroyed necessarily, but things are opening, things are, the water bag, the amniotic sac, that sac, it busts open, the water spills out, and next thing you know, you're having birth, you're giving birth, or you're having your baby, right? Like there's so many things. Like we destroy the earth, we take from the earth, we rip roots from the earth to harvest the food and our roots and things of that nature. So anyway, I feel like some rage or some destruction is necessary, but Spirit is warning you not to be needlessly destructive. Check your own fire. Really think about how you're choosing to show up right now, and if you are even being called to show up at all. And also know why you are showing up. Okay? Spirit, is there anything else that you have for us today? Thank you so much for guiding me through that conversation. It was a little bit difficult to say, but I trusted you more than anything else. So thank you for helping me through that. Okay, you have Lakshmi, the goddess of abundance. I choose to feel vibrant. Wealth is an inside job. So this has everything to do. Remember when we talked about feeling safe, that abundance, that home, that right there is where you're headed now. It's this abundance. It's this aspect where you want for nothing, but it starts with you going within. And look at that. She has such a beautiful flame in her hand. Or, well, it's actually a light. Sorry about that. It's a light. Absolutely. I'm loving this for y'all. And the reason why I do is because I do feel like it's going to come, and you may not even see it, right? You may not see it, but it's there and it's coming. Okay. That one doesn't really feel right. Let me go ahead and continue shuffling. I'm shuffling at like a really weird angle. Uh-oh. Okay. Let's see who we have here. Okay, we have, or you have actually, Dakini, the enlightened feminine. My gut instinct is wise beyond reason. I trust my intuition to guide me. This is actually bringing me to the Hangman. Yep. Wow, look at that. You also have here Pope Joan, or Pope Joanne, well, Joan, I believe. The pointiff of possibilities. The possibilities are limitless because the soul is limitless. That's the void. You are the void giving birth to itself. Exactly. And so when you decide to surrender and when you decide to go within and you decide to allow yourself to birth what is within you in a way that is guided, divinely guided, you will be assured that abundance, whatever it looks like, and you don't want an abundance of anger, you don't want an abundance of rage, you don't want an abundance of, all things that are not, conducive or that are unfavorable, because if so, right, that's the opposite of what we want, right? Because abundance does not mean abundance of all things that are favorable. Abundance really is just, it's like Jupiter. Like whatever you're abundant in is whatever you're abundant in. It's what you're feeling at that moment. I feel like that's kind of just it for right now. I feel like I don't think I have any other messages, or I don't feel like Spirit has any other messages for you right now. As a matter of fact, let me just pull like one more card here. Or let me shuffle one more card just to see if there's anything else, because we're at 35 minutes. And of course, I love spending time with you here today. Oh, okay. All right. So we have here Isis, the goddess of magic. Sexual energy is sacred. My pleasure is a prayer that brings me back to life. So, yes, this is the taboo. This is the misunderstood. This is the part of your feminine that says, I am connected to my body. Therefore, I am connected to the stars. I am the embodiment of sexual energy. I am the embodiment of creation. And therefore, sexual energy is very creative. Sexual energy is an aspect of the universe. Sexual energy is the universe's way of saying that it is aroused and it wants to enjoy the process of creation, if you catch my drift. So here in the Saiyonan archives, I do have what's called the Saiyonan path, and that path is rooted in divine feminine intelligence and intuition, of course, to help you remember your wholeness and tap back into your wholeness. That's really what this is about. So with you being on the path of remembrance, you're remembering that your sexual energy is not the lack of sacredness, but rather your sexual energy leads you to devotion. And I do feel that that is what I wanted to say, is that the void is a playground where you can be devoted to yourself. And I do feel like the void or the darkness is a gateway to devotion. 100%. I really believe that. And I feel like it's one of those things where you have to allow yourself to be devoted to the ritual, be devoted to the ceremony, be devoted to yourself, and be devoted to your home. You are safe to be in your body, and you are safe at home. Okay? I love you so very much. If you need anything from me, please feel free to visit me online over at the SaiyonanPath.org. This divine feminine, or the shadow divine feminine candle, will be available in the Ethereum. I'm going to make sure to upload that in after this reading and whatnot. Also, I'm going to link everything that you may need down in the comment section. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure that you follow me on Instagram over at the Saiyonan Path. I actually just shared a poem on Instagram, which I think I'm going to be doing another poetry and tarot reading face-to-face this time. Actually, I'm not sure when, but stay tuned for that, because we're going to be going into the shadow divine feminine, and I'm excited to read you that poem. So anyway, I love you guys. If you need anything from me, again, just check the links down below. The links to these decks will be down in the description box, so stay on the lookout for that. Leave me a comment, share this video, subscribe to the channel, and please be sure to visit me online to check out the monthly devotions that we do have available. I love you guys again, and I'll catch you in my next video.